In the first lecture, we have studied some basic things about vacuum physics. What is vacuum? What are the different units for measurement of vacuum? What are the levels of vacuum? Why we need vacuum? Then, what are the different contributing gases when we are creating a vacuum? What are the basic operating principles of the vacuum pumps? On that, how we can classify the vacuum pumps? All these things we have studied in the first lecture. So today we are going to study the actual working principles of vacuum pumps. The first type of working principle of vacuum pump, that is positive displacement pump. So last time we have seen that there are three types of vacuum pumps based on the working principle. The first one is positive displacement pump, second are the momentum transfer pump, and third type is capture pump. So let us start with the first one, that is positive displacement pump. The word positive displacement pump, it means here the gas molecules are manipulated with repetitive mechanical movement of driven parts and synchronized with wall action. So what does it mean? So in positive displacement pump, they are basically mechanical pumps. Some parts are mechanically driven and they are capturing the gas molecule and forcing them towards the discharge point. So positive displacement itself means that from the chamber where you want to create the vacuum, the gas molecules are forced to move towards the discharge point in order to open the valve. So this is only one direction, therefore the word positive displacement is used here. Then you can see that the positive displacement pump makes a fluid move by trapping a fixed amount and forcing that trapped volume into the discharge pipe. So some volume, limited volume of the gas is trapped into some moving parts and that is forced to move towards the discharge pipe. Some of the examples of this positive displacement type of pumps are rotary vane pump, root pump, and pumps which are based on some mechanical parts like diaphragm, claw, screws, and scrolls. These are all mechanical type of pumps. Positive displacement pumps, basically they are mechanical type of pumps and they are used for primary pumping. It is also called as roughing. Sometimes they are also used as a backing pump. In next one of the slide, I am going to explain what is actually a roughing pump and a backing pump. So the momentum transfer pumps, second type. Let us see the working principle of this momentum transfer pump. So in this particular case, you can see the gas molecules, they interact with either a high velocity stream of fluid or very fast moving solid surface. So inside these pumps, either a very high velocity stream of fluid is used or a solid surface which is moving with a very fast velocity. They are moving. So what happens? The gas molecule inside the chamber, they will collide with this solid surface moving with very high velocity or a stream of fluid which is moving with a very high velocity. So in this process, they impart momentum to the gas molecules inside the chamber, and because of this momentum they will be forced to move outside the chamber or they will forced to move towards the discharge point. So this is what the basic principle of momentum transfer pumps. Some of the examples of this type of vacuum pumps are vapor jet, that is oil diffusion pump, drag pump, turbomolecular pump. Then third basic principle of operation of the vacuum pumps, that is the capture pump. So let us see what are these capture pumps. In capture pumps, molecules are removed from the gas phase by being trapped on surfaces by the physical or chemical processes of condensation or adsorption. So now in this case, the gas molecules are captured. They are trapped, captured or trapped on surfaces by the physical or chemical processes like condensation or adsorption. So this is very interesting, and some of these types of vacuum pumps like cryogenic pump, sublimation pump, and ion pump, they are working on this basic principle of what is known as capturing. Okay, so capture pumps. So let us now see some basic things about the vacuum pumps. We are going to study actually each of these three types I have mentioned here. That is the positive displacement pump, second type is momentum transfer pump, and third is the capture pump. Some of the examples of each of these types we are going to study here. But before going to study the actual vacuum pumps, we must understand some basic things which are involved here, because many time we will come across these terms and while studying these vacuum pumps, and at that time you must know what is the meaning of this particular term. So first of all, when you are creating a vacuum, the entire gas molecules present inside the chamber, you can refer it as a gas load. So gas load doesn't mean whatever the initial gas molecules which are present inside the chamber. During the process of creating vacuum, there are many processes which involve or which add some additional gas molecule inside your chamber, so that causes increase in the gas load. So we are going to discuss here what are these different processes by which there is an increase in gas load or that contributes into the gas load. So this is a diagram here. This is suppose a chamber of the which is connected to the vacuum pump. So this is a pipe, you can say. At this point you can connect the vacuum pump, and this is the chamber which you want to actually evacuate. So as you start the process of creating a vacuum, initially as the gas molecules are displaced out from this chamber by the vacuum pump, what happens initially at a pressure of the order of 10 raised to -1 or -2 millibar, initially the process of desorption starts here. So what is desorption? Some of the water vapor molecules, they are adsorbed on the surface of inner surface of this particular chamber, and initially they are not actually freely present inside the chamber, but later on as the pressure decreases inside the chamber and at a pressure of the order of 10 raised to -2 millibar, these vapor molecules, they will enter into the chamber, or they will be freed or dissolved from the walls of the container into the chamber. So that will add into the gas load. Then second thing is the diffusion. You can say the phenomena of diffusion. So what is actually diffusion? During the manufacturing process of this particular container or chamber of the vacuum system, some of the gas molecules may be buried deep into this particular wall of the container. So at a sufficiently low pressure of the order of 10 raised to -6 millibar, these gas molecules which are buried deep into the walls of the container, they will be released inside the chamber. So that process you can call it as a diffusion. So that will also contribute into the gas load. Then outgassing. So outgassing, whatever the components, different components present here, there may be some seals, there may be some walls. So the material used for all these particular components, they also start emitting gases. For example, the materials used for creating or constructing these components, walls, seals, maybe rubber or stainless steel or aluminum, whatever it may be. So they are releasing gases, that is called as outgassing. So at certain lower pressure, this outgassing is also contributing into the gas load. Then there are some physical leakages in a chamber. So leakages, you just say leak means there may be some flaw while manufacturing the container itself or the chamber itself. There may be flaw, maybe cracks or holes like that, which are not actually normally active at a simple atmospheric pressure initially, but as the pressure decreases, these leaks becomes active and the gas molecule out from outside the chamber will enter into the chamber. So that is also a you can say addition into the gas load. And at a very large level of vacuum, high level of vacuum, permeation is also contributing to the this particular gas load. So that actually become active at a sufficiently high vacuum, that means of the order of 10 raised to minus 8 millibar here. So at that particular such a high level of vacuum, some very small gas molecules like helium, so these walls, even though they are physically well constructed or manufactured, they become permeable to these very small molecules like helium, and this will also add into the chamber, so that will increase the gas load. So gas load doesn't mean whatever the initial gas molecules present inside the chamber, but these are the additions because of leak, because of diffusion, outgassing, permeation, and backstreaming. Let me tell you what is backstreaming. So backstreaming means what? Sometimes for some vacuum pumps here, if oil is used here, so the oil vapor can enter back into the chamber, that is backstreaming. Or sometimes some gas molecule may enter in a backward direction again into the chamber or this vessel where you want to create the vacuum. So that is called as a backstreaming. So that is also leading to addition of this gas load. So this is what the entire picture here, what do you mean by gas load. Now let us also discuss some of the important parameters which we can call it as a performance parameters of a vacuum pump. So if you understand this performance parameter, later on we are going to refer while studying the actual vacuum pumps, we have to consider the performance parameters of the vacuum pump. Therefore right now you should know what is the meaning of this performance parameter. So first of all, let us just define this performance parameter. The first performance parameter is pumping speed. So for any particular vacuum pump, what is pumping speed? Volume flow through the cross section of the inlet port of a vacuum pump. It can be mathematically expressed as dV by dt. dV means small volume and per dt means time. So volume flow rate you can say, and its unit is cubic meter per second, or it can be also expressed as liters per second. So pumping speed is very important parameter. It can refer to the actual volume flow through the cross section of the inlet port of the vacuum pump. Second parameter is pump down time. It is a time required to evacuate a vessel to a given pressure. So suppose you want to evacuate the given vessel or the given chamber, for example to 10 raised to minus 4 torr, and suppose it took a time of 3 hours. So you can say 3 hours is a pump down time required to evacuate a vessel to a given pressure. Mathematically it is expressed for constant volume and constant pumping speed. It is expressed as T is equal to V upon S natural log of P0 upon P, where P0 is the initial pressure and P is the final pressure. Initial pressure means when you start the process of creating vacuum, that is initial pressure, and final pressure means when you reach the desired vacuum level, that will be your final pressure. What is ultimate pressure? For any vacuum pump, this is very important parameter. Ultimate pressure, the lowest possible pressure achieved by a particular pump, that is called as a ultimate pressure. So certain cases may affect the standard parameter of the any particular vacuum pump which is given or mentioned by the manufacturer. But if you do not operate it with a suitable condition, this ultimate pressure, this parameter may be affected. So you must know what is ultimate pressure. So under ideal condition, the lowest possible pressure achieved by the particular pump. Next is compression ratio. So any vacuum pump, at the input side it is a vessel or a chamber is connected to it, and at the output side there is a discharge pipe, you can say, from where the actual removed gas molecules from the vessel or chamber, they are thrown out. Okay, so you can say there is one input to the vacuum pump and there is output to the vacuum pump. So the maximum pressure ratio between discharge pressure P2, that means the output pressure, and the intake pressure, that is the input pressure P1, is referred as the compression ratio. So P2 by P1, it is the compression ratio. This is also one of the important parameter of a pump. Okay, so with this basic information, some performance parameters we have studied about the vacuum pumps. Now let us start the actual study of the vacuum pumps. So let us see some examples of the first type of vacuum pump, that is a positive displacement pump. And the first example that we are going to study is a rotary vane pump. This is the diagram of rotary vane pump. You can see here a metallic stator is there, the blue one you can see here, which is immersed in a oil. This is a oil reservoir, you can say here. So it is cylindrical metallic stator, blue one, and again at this inside this there is a circular rotor, you can see here. This is a rotor, but it is not exactly at the center, it is slightly off center. Okay, and to this particular rotor there is a vane, or you can say a blade is fixed here at the center, and there are two springs, one from this side and other from this side, which are creating a tension along this direction, so that all the time this particular vane or blade will be in contact with the inner surface of this particular stator. This rotor is externally driven by a motor having speed of the order of 350 to 700 rotations per minute. You can see this is the inlet to this particular vacuum pump, and this is the outlet of this particular vacuum pump. This is you can say exhaust valve. Now how this particular pump, this rotary vane pump work, you can understand it very well with this particular diagram, where four different steps are given here. The first step, let us see now. So initially you can see when the vane is at this position like this. Okay, so there is a entry from this particular inlet. Now gas molecules can enter into this particular pump. So this pipe, inlet pipe, is connected to the vessel which you want to evacuate. So the vane is at this position and the gas molecules are entering here. That is the first step, that is induction. So the when rotor is rotating, this vane is also moving in this particular direction. In the next step, what will happen? The vane will further move in this direction. Now it will be closed. The inlet will be closed. So whatever the gas which has entered here, gas molecule, they will be trapped. Okay, they will be trapped here. So this step is a isolation step. Further, when the vane moves here, what will happen now? The gas molecules which are trapped here, they will be now forced in this direction. So this is a compression step, or this is a particular process of compression. And when the further movement of the vane or blade, you can say, this will create a very large pressure, so that the exhaust valve that will open here and the gas molecules will be thrown out through the outlet. So this is the entire cycle. You can see how this rotary vane type of pump works. To improve the ultimate pressure, if you want higher pressure, you want to achieve high ultimate pressure, instead of using a single stage of this particular rotary vane pump, one can cascade. For example, two stage, one stage can be serially connected to the other rotary vane pump. So you can cascade them in a serial manner. So in this process, you can improve the ultimate pressure. For example, suppose you have a single rotary vane pump which created vacuum ultimate pressure of the order of 10 raised to minus 2 millibar. Then if you use a two stage rotary vane pump, that means parallelly or in series you can connect the two rotary vane pump, so that can create a pressure of the order of 10 raised to minus 4 millibar. Now earlier I have shown that there is a oil reservoir or oil is used. What is the role of oil inside this rotary vane pump? It can be used as a seal, it can be used as a lubricant, then for the cooling purpose and to avoid the corrosion. So it seals mean that it can fill up the gaps between the vanes, rotors and stators. It lubricates the blade contact surface. So when the blades are moving and they are having contact with the interior wall of the stator, so for that purpose it can act as a lubricant. Then since there are rotational motion is involved with a very high speed, the blades are moving and they are having rotaries moving, so they are becoming hot in this process. So in order to keep the temperature cool or down, this oil can also use as a working as a coolant. Then because of lubrication due to oil, the parts can be protected from corrosion or rusting. So that is the use of this particular oil used in the rotary vane pump. This rotary vane pump is actually used as a primary pumping application, that means roughing, or sometimes it is also used for backing applications. Now this rotary vane pump, the main advantage, you can say it is a low cost, but another drawback associated with this rotary vane pump is that sometimes the oil may backstream into the chamber. So that problem is there associated with this rotary vane pump, and the oil degrades after a long use, so you have to change the oil, so maintenance cost is involved. So even though initial cost is less, capital cost is less, maintenance cost is high in this particular case, and there is also a problem of backstreaming of the oil molecules or oil vapor inside the chamber. So this is what the very basic type of pump, that is a rotary vane pump. Then just now earlier we come across two important terms, roughing pump or backing pump. Just now I have told you that rotary vane pump is used as a roughing pump, or it can be also used as a backing pump. So what is actually a roughing pump and backing pump? So let us try to understand with the help of this particular diagram. Now inside this diagram you can see this is a chamber here, or the space where you want to create the vacuum. Now this particular chamber is connected to the actual high vacuum pump. Suppose E is the diffusion pump, oil diffusion pump. Later on we are going to study that. That is actually a high vacuum pump. Okay. Then you can see over here this B is a roughing valve. Then D is a backing valve, and you can see F is a high vacuum gauge. Gauge means to monitor what pressure level or vacuum level is achieved. Then H is a vent valve. Okay. So what is actually roughing and backing, that we want to understand from this. So you can see this point C. So at point C you have to connect this mechanical pump, just like rotary vane pump. We have just seen its application as a roughing or backing pump. So it will act as both for backing also and for roughing also. Roughing means what? Initially you have to create some moderate level of vacuum here, so that this particular gas flow here goes from viscous region to molecular region.
Okay, so some of the high vacuum pump, for example oil diffusion pump, its performance parameter will be affected because of the starting pressure. So if the starting pressure is the atmospheric pressure, then ultimate pressure and the pump down time of this high vacuum pump will be affected. So what is the solution? So you should start with some moderate level of vacuum so that the starting condition is in the molecular region. So for that, initially you can evacuate this region with a mechanical pump, which is a low cost pump. So that is called as a roughing pump. So rough level of vacuum is achieved here. So what is done initially? G is closed. G means what? It is a high vacuum valve. This valve is closed. That means your chamber will be connected to the mechanical pump, for example rotary vane pump, which is connected over here. So at that time your B, that means backing valve, must be open. So initially the pumping will start because of this mechanical pump, and this chamber will be evacuated to certain lower level of vacuum. Okay, maybe 10 to -1 or -2 torr. So once that level is achieved, you can close B, and now you can start your high vacuum pump. So at that time you have to open this valve Z, and also you have to open this particular valve D, which is the backing valve. Again for these pumps, for example it may be mostly for momentum transfer pumps, these pumps, they cannot directly discharge the gas molecules to the atmospheric pressure. If you do in that way, then that will certainly affect the performance parameters of this high vacuum pump. So the solution is that you have to use a backing pump. So backing pumps means what? Here, instead of directly discharging the gas molecules to the atmospheric pressure, here your uh, backing pump, just like a rotary vane pump, will be acting at certain lower pressure, moderate pressure. So this particular gas molecules which are evacuated by this high vacuum pump like oil diffusion pump, they are first of all displaced instead of directly into the atmosphere, but they are displaced to a mechanical pump where certain lower layer of pressure is there. So therefore the actual effect of direct transmitting the air molecule to the atmospheric pressure level on the performance parameter of this diffusion pump will be avoided. So that is what the backing pump. So both way, the initial roughing, and then once the high vacuum pump works, after that discharging this gas molecule, for that you need a mechanical pump. So rotary vane pump, that can be used both for roughing and backing applications.